My name is Haley Elmore, and I chose to research the soybean cyst nematode and demonstrate the stages of pathogenesis. And I chose this because I work in agricultural research at DuPont Pioneer, and I specialize in corn and soybean research. So this would help me learn a lot about the soybean cyst nematode that affects our soybeans quite often, as well as many other farmers. And this is important in plant pathology because soybean cyst nematodes cannot be eliminated once you have them. And to determine if they're there, you take soil samples and send them off to be tested, and they'll let you know if you have them or not. And so they can be treated with nematicides, but a good sort of management practice once you have soybean cyst nematodes is crop rotation. And this is important because the soybean cyst nematodes cannot survive and reproduce without the host. So if you take the host away, that can help to get rid of most of them. So here I have a cookie cake that I decorated with icing for the intents and purposes of this video to demonstrate a little bit about the soybean cyst nematode. And we'll quickly give you a simplified version of their life cycle here. And it starts here with the eggs that are enclosed in a cyst. This cyst protects them, and these eggs molt one time while they're in this stage until they reach this stage, which is J2, juvenile 2. And this is when they are dispersed into the soil. And it's at this stage that they penetrate the roots, and that's when they actually infect. So they just move around until they come in contact with a root. From there, if the juvenile is a male, it will detach within a couple of days and go fertilize a female, and then it dies. But if it's a female, it becomes sedentary onto the root, and that's when it grows and feeds off of the plant, and it swells up to be this structure here, and then it will molt 4 more times, and it will become an adult in this structure here where the nematode is actually enclosed. So the white cyst structure that you see on the plant is actually the female structure, and that's the only structure that's visible with the naked eye. These are microscopic roundworms, so that's why you can see that structure. And then when this female dies, her eggs are in this is basically from this structure. And then it will be dislodged or detached from the roots, and it will become brown and stay in the soil. So soybean cyst nematodes can move a little on their own, but they can also be moved by vectors. So here I've drawn a piece of farm equipment to symbolize vectors helping them to move. I like to think of, the tractor could go through the field and move around soil and help them to spread. And they require moisture and adequate temperature in order to disperse and begin to grow. So for colonization, I'm going to come back up here. As I said before, they're dispersed in the J2 stage. That is when they penetrate, and they just move around in the soil until they come in contact with roots. They normally go for newer, smaller roots on the plant. So when they reach a root, they will penetrate and begin to infect that plant. And then once they have penetrated the root, infected the plant, they use specialized feeding cells to feed off of that plant, and all the nutrients in the plant go to the soybean cyst nematode. And they do this by inserting a spiret perpendicular to the root, like I've drawn here, and then they are outside the root where they grow and swell until they finish out their life cycle. For dispersal and reproduction, I talked about it a little up here. You have the eggs that the female produces, and then they stay in a cyst, and that cyst can remain in the soil for quite some time, and it protects those nematodes until the environment becomes favorable. And then that's where I'm going to get into dispersal. It requires adequate temperature and moisture. So here I have raindrops to symbolize the moisture that the cyst needs in order for it to be symbolized to open and disperse the new little juveniles, and it can continue to reproduce. So I hope you learned a little about soybean cyst nematode.